because they're evil. And someone has to stand up to that. Quote Ben Parker, who is the ultimate black cat. Tensions rise between Spider-Man and the Green Goblin in the wake of recent events, and a new villain steps up to the plate. What is her connection to the Black Cat on Kingpin's Sinister Six? Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3, Issue 11. 20 years ago, the Maker prevented a radioactive spider from biting a young Peter Parker. He likewise prevented the creation of any other superheroes and formed a secret council to rule the world from the shadows. 10 months ago, Tony Stark sent Peter that same radioactive spider along with a Picotech suit and warnings of the Maker's Council, a shadow organization that rules the world. Since then, Peter has used the incredible powers granted by the spider's bite to fight crime alongside Green Goblin. Wilson Fix, the Kingpin of Manhattan and an agent of the Makers Council, has deputized the heads of New York, the Sinister Six, to capture the heroic duo. The first to try was Black Cat, who got badly injured in the altercation. That soiled an ethical dispute between Spider-Man and Green Goblin, which is even more complicated now that Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson know the Green Goblin's true identity. Harry Osborn, the CEO of Oscorp. In November, Spider-Man has been stood up on his stakeout by the Green Goblin. Spider-Man says, "Hey, Harry, this is your friendly neighborhood friend again. Just wanted to see if you were still on for today. I've been here for 2 hours." In Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3, Issue 10, Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson discover the true identity of Harry Osborn. Right now, the Green Goblin is preoccupied with other matters, leaving Spider-Man waiting. This is the first opportunity for Spider-Man to work alone, as the previous encounters were team-ups between the Green Goblin and Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't want to do this, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Before making the call, he dials star 67 to block his number. The person Spider-Man is calling is Otto Octavius. Trying to be polite, Spider-Man says, "I'm sure you're busy. Sorry to bother you, but have you seen Harry?" Otto Octavius, unconcerned about Harry Osborn's whereabouts, replies curtly, "I'm certainly not his keeper." Spider-Man explains his concerns, mentioning that Harry was supposed to meet him for a stakeout a couple hours ago. Otto dismisses the matter, stating he's busy at the moment. However, Spider-Man's persistence and charm begin to wear him down, knowing full well that Spider-Man won't stop until he gets some kind of information. Just as Otto Octavius is about to respond, Spider-Man notices something suspicious happening at the stakeout. Spider-Man sees a robbery in progress, but these aren't ordinary robbers. They're headed straight for the bank. Spider-Man leaps through the window, taking out one of the criminals from behind. These gang members are part of a group known as the Demons. The wisecracking Spider-Man says, "Hey guys, sorry to interrupt your little escapade here. I get it. Everyone's got issues with the bank these days. But are guns really the answer?" Trying to be funny and lighthearted, Spider-Man continues as the demons raise their guns. One of them says, "It's the Spider-Man." Spider-Man quips, "It is the Spider-Man. And look, I know transaction fees are out of control, and don't even get me started on trying to cash a check or withdraw your money. But come on, bank robberies never go well. So let's put the weapons down, let these people go, and we can all walk away nice and easy. Or this could go the other way." The bank manager panic yells, "Why don't you shut up? You're going to get everyone killed." Spider-Man sighs and says, "Okay, fine, you can keep her, but everyone else goes free. What's it going to be?" The demons open fire, but Spider-Man quickly moves out of the way, shooting webs to cover the faces of two attackers. The remaining gang members pull out laser swords and charges Spider-Man. Spider-Man dodges and counters with a swift kick to the face, knocking him back. Spider-Man quips, "I did try to warn you." Spider-Man has grown significantly as a hero, handling the demon gang members with ease, far better than when he first gained his powers. As the fight continues, Spider-Man expertly uses his webbing, flinging one gang member into the others like bowling pins, knocking them over. Just then, one of the demons grabs the bank manager, who exclaims, "See, you idiot, I told you this would happen. You're nothing but an idiot." The gang member yells at Spider-Man, "That's enough. Quit or we leave with the money, or she gets one in the head." Spider-Man replies, "Good try, but that's totally against my save everyone everyone no matter what ethos. So while it's tempting, no dice. With that, Spider-Man executes a perfect backflip, webbing up the gang member and sealing the mouth of the bank manager mid-complaint. Then suddenly, Martin Lee, also known as Mr. Negatives, makes his entrance. Mr. Negative says, "It appears you made short work of my men. I suppose that counts for something." Spider-Man quips, "Whoa, rocking that man bun. Don't get me wrong, I understand most of the grief you guys get is just pretty jealousy from male pattern baldness brigade, but still, bold choice. People are gonna love you in jail." Mr. Negative replies, "You think you're the man to put me there?" Spider-Man counters, "You think I'm not?" Mr. Negative responds, "Oh, I'm perfectly aware of your impressive abilities." Spider-Man, "It's hard to forget what you and your companion did to my colleague, the Black Cat, a few weeks ago. Hard to forget, impossible to forgive." In the previous issue, Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3, Issue 9, Walter Harley, better known as the Black Cat, was the first of the Sinister Six to confront Spider-Man the Green Goblin. Catching them by surprise, he almost managed to defeat them, but the Goblin threw him off the building they were fighting on, leaving him unconscious and definitely severely injured. Spider-Man called an ambulance and Hardy survived. Martin Lee, the CEO of Feast Foundation, hides his true identity as the leader of the Demons, a gang that holds New York City in its grip. He recently joined the Sinister Six, led by the Kingpin. Spider-Man says, "About the Black Cat, I didn't mean for that to happen." Mr. Negative responds, "And where's your green friend today?" Spider-Man replies, "Afraid I'm flying solo on this one." Mr. Negative smirks and says, "It's a tough life being alone. Me, I'm never am. I don't allow it." Just then people begin reaching for Spider-Man and his spider senses start pounding intensively. As in other universes, Mr. Negative can control people's minds. Suddenly everyone in the bank, from customers to managers to tellers, starts attacking Spider-Man. Spider-Man, confused and overwhelmed, says, "Stop it. I'm on your side." Mr. Negative responds, No, you don't get it. These people work for me now, doing the good work of stopping men like you." The crowd grabs Spider-Man, clawing and scratching at him, tearing at his suit as he struggles to break free. Later, a beaten and bruised Spider-Man climbs through the window exhausted and collapses onto the floor. Mary Jane is there to greet him, saying, "Hey, yourself, Tiger. Rough day at work?" Peter, worried, asks. "The kids didn't see me like this, did they?" Mary Jane reassures him, "You're in luck. They both had something after school, but I'll admit I'm freaking out a little right now. You should be worrying about me instead." Peter sighs. "I know this looks bad, but believe it or not, it was a moral decision. I couldn't avoid it, but innocent people might have gotten hurt, so I took the beating, and for what it's worth, I learned a valuable lesson today." Mary Jane raises an eyebrow. "Oh, what's that?" Peter smiles faintly and says, "Not all women are Mary Jane Watson Parker, not even close, and I'm lucky to have you." Their conversation shifts briefly to Mary Jane's estranged sister, but Mary Jane brings up something more serious. "Look, I think I've been pretty cool about you becoming, well, the new you. I think I've handled the constant threat of violence and the danger pretty well, but what should I do if I say I'm starting to freak out a little?" Peter nods, understanding her concern. She continues, "Sure, you got thousands of photos and hours of videos from working at the paper, but I don't think we've ever talked about this. Had you ever been in a fight before all this?" Peter chuckles, "Sure, Flash Thompson, 8th grade." Mary Jane tilts her head. "How did it go?" Peter grins sheepishly. "Oh, he beat the bleeping out of me. It was terrifying." Mary Jane presses, "So how are you dealing with it now?" Peter pauses, then admits, "I hate it. I mean, it feels good to stop someone when I'm the only one who can, but I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't want anyone to get hurt." Mary Jane smiles softly, "Which is why you're perfect for this, I suppose. But do me a favor, promise to tell me when I really should be scared." Peter reaches for her hand. "MJ, if I ever come home and tell you it's time to run, be ready to run. But until then, please don't worry. I'm supposed to be doing this." Mary Jane smiles, leaning closer. "Well, in that case, Tiger, how about we make the most of you being home?" Peter suddenly remembers something. "Oh no, I forgot I'm supposed to be somewhere." Mary Jane blinks, realizing it too. "Wait, when are you supposed to meet Ben?" Peter rushes to grab his gear. "Now, unless swinging home to change counts as being on time." Mary Jane shakes her head with a laugh. "Rain check." Peter grins as he heads out the window. Definitely. The Kingpin cannot understand how Mr. Negative has Spider-Man and let him go. Mr. Negative replies, no, Kingpin, it was best to call it a stalemate. It took him less than a minute to defeat almost all of my men, so I took the liberty the rabbi gave me and withdrew from the conflict. Mole Man asks, what about his mind and your formal feats of persuasion? Mr. Negative answers, do you fear that battle as well? Mr. Negative then adds, I can judge well at a glance, Mole Man. As one measure of determination, the spider would do well in comparison to everyone in this room. Mr. Negative's implying that he can control people with weak minds, but Spider-Man's mind is not weak. Craven says, so you see this man, and you must kill him. Do it in whatever manner you wish, but he must die, for we have been reduced to 5 from 6. Craven is referring to the black cat Walter Hardy who was thrown off the roof by the Green Goblin. But then someone says no. The person who said no was Walter Hardy, the black cat, who stated, I have not surrendered my seat, Craven, as he does not want to lose his money. Mysterio replies, maybe not yet. The black cat counters, not ever, Mysterio. The territory will remain in the Hardys' hands. Yes, I have new limitations, but when needed, my daughter Felicia will stand in my place. What's mine is mine. Felicia Hardy, his daughter, the new Black Cat, will step into the Sinister Six. The Kingpin slams his hand down and says, no, what's yours belongs to me, each of you, and all of it. You rule at my pleasure, and those are currently too many rats biting at my feet. Whatever distraction plans or agendas you might currently have, stop them all now. My kingdom is in rebellion, and I will not be pleased until there are bodies laid before me. At Memorial Park, where the Maker had blown up the buildings, Peter Parker is going to meet his uncle Ben Parker. While walking with flowers to honor his Aunt May, he's texting to Harry Osborn, who says, I can't talk about it over the phone. I'll tell you in person. Where are you now? Peter replies, at Memorial Park. Harry Osborn says, okay, I'm headed your way. I'll ping you when I'm there. Peter meets up with Ben Parker. Ben Parker says, hey, Peter, thanks for coming. Peter replies, of course. You sure you don't want to come tomorrow? That's the official day. Everyone's going to be there. The mayor is supposed to speak. Ben Parker says, I'm not one for show, kiddo. Peter replies, yeah, I know. I can't believe it's been a year already. Ben says, I can't. I get up every morning, have my coffee, and ask myself if today's the day I start going through her things to see what's what. But I can't bring myself to do it. I'm still waiting for her to walk through the door. Peter says, I miss her too. Ben says, she was some kind of woman. Peter replies, yeah. Hey, you know what? Aunt May would absolutely love what you're doing. Ben says, you think so? He adds, well, she'd love what you're doing too. Peter then says, yeah, she did always like my photos. Ben says, she did, but that's not what I'm talking about, Peter. Peter looks at him with a shocked face. Then suddenly it hits Peter. He knows what Ben will tell him. Ben says, it took me about a week after we figured out who Harry was. Peter says, Ben, I've been wanting to tell you. Ben interrupts, no, don't. Don't say it, and don't ever say it out loud to anyone again. Ben continues, how many people know? Peter says, 6. You make 7, unless Jonah knows. Ben says, no, not yet, but he's just as good as I am. He'll get there eventually. Ben says, it's hard to keep this secret, especially when it's such an important one, but keeping it could save your life, your lives. You have to try harder, Peter. Make some changes. Peter says, MJ asked me if she should be scared earlier. Ben asks, what did you tell her? Peter replies, that I would tell her I know when she should be. Ben says, and you think you know when that is? Before the wave crashes over your head? Peter replies, yes, I think so. I believe so. Peter says, I don't know that I'm strong enough now to do something about it if I had to. Ben says, because they're evil and someone has to stand up to that. Just then, Harry Osborn texts Peter Parker saying, hey, I'm here. Black SUV parked in the street behind you. Peter texts back, be right there. Peter Parker's afraid of what might happen if anyone knows his secret identity, what it would do to MJ, to the kids, and who would come after them. He starts to understand what these people can do. Peter says, Harry's here, I gotta go. Ben says, sure, go do some good, kiddo. Ben calls out, hey, Peter. Peter turns around and says, yeah? Ben says, I'm old. Well, old enough. I've lived a good life, and I've lived long enough to see the woman I love be buried and gone. I do miss her, but it was a good life, and I'm fine with whatever happens next. Can you say that? This is a lesson learned and taught to Peter Parker to live his life, to have a good life, and to keep his family safe. Peter says no. Ben says, maybe keep that in mind. As Peter walks toward the black SUV, he reflects on Ben's words. Next, Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 3, Issue 12.